Hello friends, today we are going to talk about crisis management with the help of case study. We will try to understand how can we actually manage a crisis situation. But before that, let us talk about what is crisis. Crisis is something which is without any notice, sudden kind of problem or sudden kind of calamity which a company or which a product faces. And it is always without any kind of notice. So something which happens randomly, suddenly, and you need to deal with it. That situation is called crisis. There have been and there has to be so many crises in the prevailing situation when everything is so uncertain around a company, around a particular product. The system is completely uncertain. It is continuously changing. So you never know that when and where something will stuck or something will strike upon your product or your company. So let us talk about how to manage crisis. And for that, let me share this presentation with all of you. So there can be many case studies in crisis communication and crisis management. There are many, but I have chosen for this particular understanding and learning a very popular case, and that is Nestle Maggi noodles ban in India. So this is the case we all are familiar with. We know that what happened with Maggi and how it actually conquered the market again. So this is one very important case study, and it will help you understand the perspective, the way with which Maggie has actually dealt with the situation, which was not so favorable at that time. And they dealt with the crisis, and they did regain their status in the market, and they regained their business in the market. So that is a very relevant one successful case study to understand how crisis can be managed. So actually, let us first see and try to understand that what happened in the case of Maggie. So we suddenly came to know that around was mid of 2015 that Maggie was blamed for many things, and first of them, those blame was uh, actually presence of an element called monosodium glutamate in Maggi noodles in India. So, and it was said that it had lead, it had monosodium glutamate, and which is very much harmful for the physical well-being of the humans, and it was more than the prescribed limit. So, but Nestle India, which is the company which is the company for Maggi noodles, which produces Maggi noodles, it denied the presence of MSG in Maggi, and it said that okay, it wanted to get it retested. But this was also proved to be a very bad decision at that time because after retesting, not only MSG but also lead was found. Lead was initially not found. Only there was charge of monosodium glutamate in Maggi noodles, but later it was found that there was also lead was present beyond the prescribed limit in the Maggi noodles, and it was more than it was too much. It was 7 times more than the approved limit. So that was a setback for Maggi noodles and for National India company because it was very much confident and it proclaimed that it was not using these kind of material. And Nestle India again went for test by independent laboratories in which the presence of lead was found to be within approved limits, but it was like its own will, on its own will, but it was not prescribed or not mandated by the government or the court. So it had no value at that time. But Nestle India actually got it itself tested by some approved and big laboratories. Also, there was this level, uh, no added MSG was there on Maggi noodles packet. So the company, with the suggestion of the government, the company agreed to remove this level because this was misleading. When it says that no added MSG and there is MSG present in the product, that is misleading. So that is why company removed this level, no added MSG, but it maintained that there is no violation of regulation because glutamate found in Maggi was from natural sources, not added to it. So it said that it tried to save this skin by saying that it's not something misleading, rather It is not adding any MSG. Whatever MSG amount of MSG present in Maggi is already from natural sources. So that is what happened. And then how the news break and how it was actually blown out of proportion, that is very sad situation. And we must try to understand that, because it was a big news. Maggi was a very popular product in Indian market. Indian youth, Indian children were very much fond of Maggi. And whenever this particular presence of this unwanted material, this news was leaked, uh, first in social media and then in local media, then it reached to the national media. And Maggi was, since it was very much popular food, so many people took interest in it, and they started commenting on it, and it became viral. Soon after, people felt deceived, cheated, and the hashtag Maggie ban started trending. So it became viral. So the news broke in local media, then it traveled to national media, and it also got leaked on social media, which made it really unbearable for Maggie to save its face at that time. But what did Maggie do? Actually, it was such a vital phase and such a vital phase of crisis that Nestle India uh, had to act very wisely in that sense. So it kept itself away from media. That is the first thing it did. That without doing anything, it did not talk to media. So it kept itself away, and it silently prepared itself to tackle the situation. By the time media was actually saying so much about Maggie, and there was so much hue and cry against Maggie, Nestle India tried to prepare itself for the situation, and it went for retesting Maggie in some independent, very authentic foreign laboratories, and and it also kept talking to the food regulators who were responsible for giving approval to the Maggie. So after 2 weeks, Nestle India proved that Maggie was safe to eat, and soon after it issued this statement. So because it got itself tested into some foreign laboratories, some very much credible laboratories, and when there was a clearance for Maggie noodles from those laboratories, declared that Maggie was safe to eat, and it also issued this statement. But the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is responsible for ensuring the quality of food and safety of food, it instructed to test the sample of noodles, Maggi noodles at its authorized laboratory. So it did not accept that, okay, Nestle India got Maggi noodles tested in some big foreign laboratories, but it was not accepted by FSSAI, AI, and they instructed Nestle India to test the samples of Maggi noodles at only those laboratories which it has authorized. So that was one condition. And before, by the time it was happening, Delhi government already announced that Maggi will be banned for 15 days, which was a huge blow to the company. Means it was unexpected and it was unprecedented for the company. So actually, the protesters, the people who were loving Maggi, they also started burning its packets and the photos of Maggie's celebrity ambassadors. So there was a huge protest by people also, and there was this announcement for ban. But what happened that Nestle India took very quick action, and at the same time, FSSAI also took one action. So the company before, when it saw that many state government are banning Maggi, the company voluntarily recalled all its products from the market and issued a statement that in spite of Maggi noodles being safe, Nestle India decides to take the products off the shelves. So it was voluntarily recalling of all the products from the market in the good faith that people would believe that Maggi or Nestle India is very much concerned about the health of the people. And if there is a little bit of doubt, then also they are willing to pull off their product from the market. On the other hand, food safety commissioners banned Maggi in 5 states. So different states started banning Maggi, and you see that here in picture also. The media was actually flaring the case, and also people were demanding ban for Maggi. So there were many states who, one by one, which started banning Maggi. So just to save itself from this kind of reputation brokerage or breakage, the company took this volunteering step, and it actually withdraw all its noodles packet from the market, and it said that okay, we are 100% sure we are safe, but still we are concerned for the towards the thoughts or perception of the country. So that's why we are taking our products off. Then the then CEO of Nestle India, Paul Bulke, he wanted to send a message, and he said that Maggie is safe. However, there is consumer confusion. The company is working with authorities. We are committed to India. So he gave a clear message that we don't have any problem. We are safe. We are very much suitable for eating. But since there is a mistrust among consumers, there is a confusion among consumers, and we are committed towards the Indian consumers. So the company is working on it, and how to regain that trust, that is our first priority. So the company was directed by FSSAI to withdraw all 10 flavors of Maggi noodles from the market and stop production, processing, distribution and sale of these products. So this was clear direction by FSSAI, and the company could not forego it. The company cannot forego it. So that was the case when they had to withdraw everything. They had to stop manufacturing Maggi. Then how media covered it. You see these kind of, there are thousands of such kind of headlines everywhere, with from every production, from every newspaper, every media house. So you see Maggie controversies, Supreme Court revives government's again case against Nestle India in NCDRC. Then this headline: Maggie samples fail lab test, UP administration slaps fine. Maggie noodles banned in Rajasthan. Maggie banned impact Nestle India may take 3 years to recover. Then Gujarat extends ban on Maggie noodles for 1 month. So all these kind of headlines were there. It mostly got negative coverage in the initial phase. All types of media hyped this ban on Maggie, and they hyped this presence of these kind of content into the ingredients into the Maggie noodles. So they carried the concerns of parents as well as highlighted the views of the experts, but nobody was talking to the Maggie, the authorities, Nestle India, and there was less communication from their side also. So initially it got very negative coverage, and all the things went against the product at that moment. Then Nestle also roped in one US lobbyist, APCO Worldwide, to tone down Maggie backlist. So they tried to hire this particular company, which was, and this news was also published in the Economic Times on June 6, 2015, and they try to reclaim their status and reputation in the market, Indian market. So what was their approach? How did they win back? So first of all, what they did that they did not leave any scope for communication gap with the consumers. So they formed an information hub. They created an information hub on Nestle's website, and they publicized recall of product, which was in good faith. Means it was to send a message that we are concerned for your health. So they publicized this act that they had recalled all the products even if they considered it safe and in good condition to eat. So that was one thing they did. Then they also invited journalists to tour its quality assurance center. They also tried to convince journalists, because they were like messengers of their companies, and whatever opinion they are going to, whatever they were going to write, that is going to be the opinions of the masses also. So they invited journalists to the center. They tried to woo media by convincing them that what is happening in their manufacturing units, and they opened their doors. They tried to give all kind of information to them, and all kind of details which were required to write a very comprehensive report. Then there was a big decision made by the company, and then it replaced the managing director, Etienne Bennett, with Suresh Narayan. So, and there were many kind of news also being published, and the news of Maggie information hub was also highlighted by many of the newspapers. Just like here, you see that Hindustan, in the Hindu business line has actually published this news that Nestle Maggie has created an online hub for test related queries. So anything you want to know, there is a dissemination information dissemination point where you could go and you can actually yourself check what is happening. Okay. Then Nestle also took one more convincing and step, and just to win the trust of the people and confidence of the people, it destroyed all the recall product amounting to about 30,000 tons. So around 30,000 tons of Maggie products were destroyed at that time, and it was a very big number of packets, and obviously it amounted to a lot of money also. So it was done to gain the confidence of the people, but it was interpreted in a different way, and it was considered to be an act of admission by the company that product was indeed unsafe for human consumption. So people started, it was interpreted as if that they were at fault, that's why they destroyed their product. Although it was clearly done to regain the confidence of the people in the Maggi noodles. So there were many news websites and newspapers which published that how much Nestle India destroyed, how much tons of Maggi Nestle India destroyed. Then Nestle India was very much concerned that how media is portraying itself, because we have already seen that in the initial phase, media very much negatively portrayed this company and its product. So it was very much concerned towards changing the perception of the journalist also. So they launched a resource page for journalists, in which they had given all details and positive news coverage in India and abroad. So all kind of news coverage related to Maggi, whether it is covered in India and abroad, they try to give all the links, all resources at one place, so the journalists don't have to look for it. So it provided all details, information. It tried to maintain the transparency, which is very much important. So people will try to assume, or journalists would try to assume, if there is dearth of information. So it did not leave any scope for vacuum or any communication gap with the journalists also. So this was these were all the important information which it put on the resources for journalists page, that Maggi noodles in India, test results explained, Maggi noodles exported from India, test results of other countries, Nestle in India, fast facts, recall process, learn more, further questions, media contacts. Means if you wanted to have more questions, they also provided a contact for journalists, like journalists or media professionals, please get in touch using the information bureau. So they gave a phone number, they gave a email ID on which they would respond easily. So there was no hiding of facts or no hiding of anything. So it was also to win the trust of the journalists and media. There were so many positive as well as some neutral and negative news also, and all those links were shared on this page. So in the news, Maggi noodles in the press, with this headline, they gave all the links of news which were published not only in India but also in other countries, and it was very helpful for any journalist who wanted to cover or who was assigned to cover this Maggi noodles case. Uh, Here are some of other links. Then there was also court battles and how they won this court battle, because Nestle also went to court to restore manufacturing because it was damaging enough. So after doing all these things, on one side they were handling the consumers and their mistrust and the media. Other sides they had to deal with the ban imposed by FSSAI. So it filed a case against FSSAI in Bombay High Court. After a few hearing, Bombay High Court allowed Nestle to manufacture Maggi for export. So they were in favor of it. So Bombay High Court also ordered Nestle India to conduct fresh tests in 3 accredited labs. So they always wanted to conduct those tests by Nestle India on Maggi products in only those laboratories which are approved by FSSI or which are accredited by FSSI, not in any independent lab. So Maggi got itself tested in these aggregated labs and cleared the test at the mandated laboratories. Soon it relaunched the product line in November 2015. So that was a quick court battle, and it again, after winning this legal battle, they came back, they relaunched themselves. So when Maggie relaunched itself, then also it needed to rebuild its reputation, and it started a series of ad campaign. Hashtag We Miss You Too ad campaign was launched. Then the tagline, our commitment to goodness you can always trust, was replaced by no added MSG level. Suresh Narayanan reiterated a key message in all interviews: Maggie is safe, it was safe, and always will be safe. So they did not leave this central argument that Maggie has been always safe and it was never at fault. Whatever confusion was created, it tried to just remove that confusion and restore the faith of the people into it. So he made it a point every time in every interview that it was always safe, it is safe, and it will be safe forever. So the trust, the goodwill it had built with the people of India, they did not want to lose it. So by April 2016, Maggi had regained status as India's leading noodle brand with 50% market share. So it reclaimed its position and with a bang, I would say. And they came back and they again won the Indian consumers by their ad campaigns. Nestle response was rightly it rejected any kind of allegation that Maggi noodles were unsafe. So from the very beginning, whether they had to follow the backlash of by media or anything else, any negative coverage, or there were so many hurdles, but they never changed their stand that they were safe. They were safe for everyone, and they were never unsafe, and all the things which were all the content and ingredient in Maggi was within the approved limitation. So they made it clear on their website and social media accounts time and again. They kept saying that no, they were not at fault. They kept interacting with the customers by creating social media pages and launching an FAQ. FAQ page on their website. So they just try to reassure and updated the customers with every details. So they were direct communicating with the customers. There was no middleman. Apart from ad campaigns, they had this open channel of communication with the consumers. So the frequently asked question was also a very good idea, because whatever doubts consumer had, they had already put it in the form of FAQ on their website. And social media also, they opened this channel, and there are so many questions which were there in FAQs, like, are Maggi noodles safe? Why is there lead in Maggi noodles? What testing methodology does Nestle use? What about Maggi noodles exported from India? What are the latest test results? What is the difference between MSG and glutamate? What is the recall process? Everything, all sorts of questions were asked and answered in FAQ section. The statement they gave on website, it is also very interesting. They said that the quality and safety of our products are the top priorities of our company. We have in place strict food safety and quality controls at our Maggi factories. We do not add MSG to Maggi noodles, and glutamate, if present, may come from naturally occurring sources. We are surprised with the content supposedly found in the sample, as we monitor the lead content regularly as a part of the regulatory requirements. So this is their central argument, and they maintained it throughout the crisis management process. So what was their approach? Nestle India's approach was defensive and defying in Maggi's case. So initially they clearly denied any kind of allegation that they were unsafe or they were carrying more amount of MSG. So since beginning, they denied the allegation and it remained firm on its stand. So that's also very much important that they kept this stand throughout the crisis management process. It also kept the consumers updated on the issue and assured the safety of product by all possible means. They did not leave any stone unturned. They kept all channel of communication open, directly talking to the consumers. They tried to assure and reassure them again and again that they were safe, and they tried to get to the consumers through all possible means, whether it is social media, website, whatever. So even they recalled their products from market and destroyed a huge amount of products to save themselves from the bans by various state governments. Although some interpreted it as a confession by the company, but they did it to win the confidence of the people, and they did not wanted to government to impose a ban, and before that they voluntarily took this action. But any kind of allegation was there, it was interpreted as their confession for the thing that it was unsafe. But they did not pay heed to these allegations, and they got its product tested from Food Corporation of various countries. And there were really number of countries like UK, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and the food corporation of these, or food assurance companies of these laboratories of these countries, when they gave clean chit to Maggie, so they had a proper proof and backup, like they are safe. So then the company communicated these reports to its consumers and presented them in court also. So they communicated all these reports, and the Indian consumers were also relying more on the laboratories outside India. So when they saw that in number of countries these Maggie products are considered safe, so there must be some problem. So gradually these Indian consumers started believing in Maggie again, and they also presented these reports in the court. So by the time court allowed its relaunch, it already started people-centric, emotionally appealing ad campaign. So one side they were fighting legally, and other side they were also trying to prepare the market and the people's mind to accept Maggie again. So what are the key learnings from this case study? So first learning from this case study is that when company's reputation is at stake and the crisis looks manageable, then one should refute the charges. Okay, so if you are refuting it, you think that, okay, this is something you cannot actually accept on yourself, and it will damage you for the long run. So you can refute it, and you can always see through that, okay, this can be managed. So with the refusal of charges, repairing procedure must start, means you should not stop only at the refusal, but how can you actually repair the process and the damage? So you must start it immediately after refusal. Nestle India did this repair by all means, literally, legally, economically, communicating with people, campaigning, everything. So one side they were fighting this legal battle, other side they were also holding it economically. They were communicating. They opened all communication channel. They started campaigning since the beginning. So all these things started immediately after taking a stand by this company. So other learnings are: do not leave any communication gap between the company and the consumers. Communication with them, open all channels of communication with them, from social media to websites. That is one very important point. So you should always be open to communicate with your consumers, whatever they want to. Do not leave them dissatisfied, or do not leave any room for confusion. So if you are communicating continuously with the consumers, ultimately you will win their trust. So this is one very important point, and try to win the confidence of media people also by organizing tour to the company and units and providing all details related to the manufacturing. So the more you will hide, the more curiosity and some kind of suspicion will generate among media people, among the journalists. So it is always better to provide them information what they want. So it is always better to be transparent, to be confident that whatever you did, it is in the real, it is not against the law, or it is not something which is doubtful. So this is very important, because journalists and media people, they are the people who are opinion leaders in the countries. Also convince these media people. The media people you cannot just convince by only providing a good tour or something like that. So you have to convince them with proof. Like Nestle India got their product tested with a clearance from every reputed labs of the world, including those mandated by the court in India. So there was no room for any doubt. So they convinced the media people, the journalists, with proof. So that is also very much required. Thank you. This is Archana Kumari, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mass Communication and New Media, Central University of Jammu.